Joining us today is Sneha Shahi, a dedicated conservationist and UNEP Plastic Tide Turner Ambassador in India. Currently pursuing her doctoral studies at ATREE, Sneha's passion lies in promoting coexistence and inspiring positive actions and addressing social and environmental issues. Her focus extends to the development of resilience, adaptation policies, and integrated strategies for climate change mitigation. Join us as we dive into Sneha's journey, her advocacy for coexistence, and her work at the intersection of conservation, climate change, and environmental sustainability. Hi Sneha, thank you so much for joining us today, and it's our pleasure to have such a young, enthusiastic climate champion talk to us and share your journey. So this means a lot. Thank you so much for doing this. How are you?
Thank you, Srishti, and thank you for having me. It's an honor to talk with you, and thank you for giving the platform to talk about such issues.
Thank you so much. So I basically want to start with Sneha, by knowing that what according to you, how would you describe climate change in a sentence?
Climate change, in one sentence, would be that climate change is something that is very natural to our Earth's process, but we have become the catalysts to fast track that process.
Okay. And what, according to you, would be, advice for young people who can take actions, locally and globally when it comes to taking action for climate?
So, to every young student, children who are out there who are wanting to make a change, who are so inspired by people like me, like others who work on different SDGs like Mansi, Burgess, Geeta, all these people, to all of them, I say all of us who've been able to create change started in our own backyards. We started exactly where we were and did not go out looking for where is the biggest trouble so we can solve. It's the small problems that you need to identify in your localities, do something with a lot of passion and zeal, and I think that can definitely dovetail and translate into bigger action. So local impact for global solution is what I would tell them to go for.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sneha. So, Sneha, because you are a UNEP Plastic Tide Turner Ambassador and you have been actively involved in combating plastic pollution, so if you could share some insights into your work and also in this area specifically, and what do you think is the importance of raising awareness around waste management, especially in a country like India? Yeah.
So thank you, Srishti, for that question. And I feel the work started with a campaign by United Nations program. And what we did there is we tried to cross levels. So level one is the participant understands about the plastic issues by themselves. Level two is taking that information to their school, college, locality. And then level three is reaching out to government officials and stakeholders to sort of increase the impact of the awareness. So it started with a small awareness campaign. And while we were doing it, my team and I, we saw this small stream in our college, which was clogged with plastic. So we thought it's a gutter, but we were all environmental science students, so we also did a mapping thing. And then we realized that it's a natural rivulet, it's a part of the river. And to our surprise, we also saw crocodiles. So then we started to clean that up slowly and gradually. It took us about 2 years to slowly clean it, get permissions, be able to go close to the stream where there are so many crocodiles. We gathered about 300 volunteers who helped us clean not just a little patch, but almost 500-meter stretch of the stream, established new bioengineered banks so that it's not concrete because you cannot straighten channels in rivers. And it's a natural thing for the crocodiles and the turtles to live, and as well as has a green impact. So it started with plastic waste management issue, went to urban water management, to ecological management. And then we realized if it's just scientific, it's not going to last. So we have to bring in the community in it. So then came the most important part of making people realize how plastic and solid waste, when ends up in open environments like rivers, streams, ponds, it impacts it. And how we are the ones who knowingly or unknowingly make it end up there. So the debate was always not to say that we need to ban all types of plastics, we need to remove all types of plastics, but we need to phase out how much ever we can at our level, slowly and gradually. And an entire ban is not feasible because so many livelihoods are connected to that. And in healthcare, in medical facilities, we do need plastic. Our glasses, our mobile, everything has plastic. So the idea is to use plastic more judiciously and not let it end up in open systems and turn into microplastics and then further impact our environment.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And I was just kind of imagining how that cleanup must have been. And 2 years is a long time, and all of such activities actually make you a very conscious person, a very sensitive person towards climate. I remember when I was in London, I was doing my masters, right? So वहां पे तो आप बहुत चीजों को लेके aware होते हैं, because there has to be no pollution, no honking, no throwing garbage anywhere. And when I came back to India, so I visited one of these beaches in Mumbai, and there was, kachra everywhere around. And I don't know, for some reason, मैं जहाँ जा रही थी, मैं कचरा pick कर रही थी, and I was throwing in the garbage. And my parents were suddenly like, okay, now what happened to you suddenly? And I said, like, I understand what it takes to, it's very easy to litter around, but then I know the impact, right? I know where is it taking us as a country. So that's really, I mean, commendable work. Thank you so much for sharing that. So because Sneha, your focus has been on developing resilience, adapting policies, and integrated strategies for climate change mitigation, which is very crucial. So if you can share a specific project or initiative where you have seen the positive impact of these strategies on communities or on environment. Yeah.
So, for me, when the UNEP program was identifying individuals, so they had a link to one SDG each. So we are a group of 17 young researchers, entrepreneurs, professionals in the field who are working on one SDG each, right? So we have Burgess, we have me, Mansi, we have Hita, all of Akhilesh, all of us working on one. So I was assigned SDG 13, which is climate action. So under SDG 13, there are targets and aims. So target number 1 is 13.1, saying climate action for now. So anything that you do is linked to any other SDG. And I very strongly work on water and waste, which is again integral to all the SDGs because we need water in all of it, be it sanitation, be it poverty, be it education, it's linked to all of them. So I got the opportunity to work with so many stakeholders, understand their perspectives. Because I was an environmental science student, they were not. So one was speaking from an economics angle, one from a sociology angle. It was so inspiring to work with all these people. And then when you work with them and you get platforms through organizations like CEE, through such as yours, and get to talk with people and spread out the information that every small action is linked to one SDG or another. You just need to identify which one you are most concerned about. So a project that is very close to my heart is again Bukhi because that's where it all started. When I was doing it, I did not realize all the scientific frameworks that I was using because it was very, it was like a whim that we want to do this, we want to do this. When I started my PhD, I'm in my second year now, I realized that the work I was doing is linked to so many frameworks, and of them, one framework is a part of my current project. So the current project aims to increase climate action on freshwater systems and remove solid waste from rivers. So I'm working on a river called Tamraparni in Tamil Nadu, the only perennial river in the state which starts and stops within the state. And we have a bandh tomorrow. There's a lot of Kaveri water dispute. It has been there for a very long time. So it becomes very essential that when there are disputes and such tensions happening in states, we need to look at water and increase climate action for it. nudge people towards wanting to do something for the system and not just, fight for the resources. Try to save the resources first. So slowly and steadily developing that, working on it. A part of it has become to see how women interact with water, how they have to come at a certain time, fill the water, go back home, how men do the fishing activities and the farming activities, what happens in drought seasons, like this is a drought season this year. And then there are these beautiful, cute otters who are the part of that river and the real residents of it. So then, how do they also impact? So we are working on water, and then the climate action is for ecology, for people who have access to water, for stakeholders, and all the work is in consensus with the district administration. So we have to go for the meetings with them, be very prepared with policies because very good IAS officers are on board with this project. We have to be, as prepared as they are, and
Absolutely.
it gives me immense pleasure to see how much they are invested in, the green initiatives of the state.
Wow, all of that sounds so amazing. And because we are running short of time, there's one last question that I want to ask you, Sneha, if you can tell me in a few sentences, because COP28 is around the corner, and you guys have been working, and because the ideas that you have been using and doing things on ground makes a lot of sense to also influence the policy, right? So, what do you think is your message for the climate leaders, for the global world leaders, before COP28, especially in reference to India?
Yeah. So we have something called as a COI, which is a convention of youth. So we have a L COI that just got over. Srishti and Akhilesh were a part of it in Kerala. Lot of young leaders from India were a part of it. A declaration was signed. But if I had to be there, because I was busy with another thing, if I had to be there at a COP and say, now that there is so much debate around youth being a part, an integral part of climate action, we don't just want platforms to come sit, listen to you, and give you our ideas. But we need proper stakeholder recognition that we are a part of it and our words need to be taken seriously. Our ideas need to be funded to be scaled to, actually cause that impact and not just be a token of representing youth on a platform. So
That's
yeah, that's
that's
my.
so true, and that makes a lot of sense to me as well because we also work with stakeholders, right? So a lot of times they're very eager to know ideas from you. They welcome every possible thing that you get them on the table. But at the end of the day, the power making, the policy making, the power goes in their hands. So that recognition and that acknowledgement of the idea and the work goes a little undermined. So I think that's one of the great advices that you have. Thank you so much, Sneha, for doing this with us. And it's our absolute honor to amplify your work, your voice, and the kind of things that you have been up to. And this conversation has inspired me so much. And I hope this inspires other people who are going to watch us on this podcast episode. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.